was the nicest introduction I've had. So thank you.
That's not
And I wish you made the cookies, because then I could at least I could judge you silently. I am better. So I'm not sure how many. Are all of you familiar with the bakery and the story?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Not with the story. Okay. Okay, so some of you are just gonna have to sit through it again. I grew up in San Diego and left when I was 18 and moved to San Francisco. And ended up in New York about 8 years ago. And at the time, I had learned that I had a ton of food allergies or sensitivities. And so I was trying to navigate a life eating without wheat and dairy and sugar, and I had a short stint in Los Angeles, which turned me into one of those like people who are like afraid of anything that's but so anyway, that happened to me, and I was living in New York and working in fashion at the time, and I worked really hard to get there in the job that I had, and I was really depressed, and I didn't know what was wrong because it made sense that I should be in fashion. I always was so into it, it made sense to me, and I could figure it out, but I felt like I just didn't relate to anyone around me, and I had been a waitress for a long time, and I decided to quit fashion and just get back into waitressing, much to my mother's horror, and because I think I was maybe 27, and you know, I thought I had figured everything out finally. And simultaneously, when I let go of the job in fashion, I had the idea for BabyCakes, and I just became immediately like just immersed in inspiration, and I was just, it was like, you know how they describe falling in love, it was like all I could think about was BabyCakes, and like, you know, I would just like just stay up all night just thinking about it, and like how awesome it was gonna be, and just I knew, I was like, this is gonna be the coolest place in the whole world, and it's gonna be so fun, and I know the block I want it on, and it's gonna be a little neighborhood place. I didn't want anything more than that. I just wanted like a little shop where I could make good food, and people could come in and eat good food and listen to good music, and that was it. And then the baking had to happen. So that was a really big challenge, because I thought that it would just be the easy part, you know, coming up with these recipes. And it was really hard, and I had to teach myself, because there was nothing out there that there were no classes I could take that taught this kind of baking or anything like that. And so I just took it upon myself to go out and find ingredients and replacements that I thought might work, and it was a long period of trial and error, and it was, you know, really difficult to get good recipes down, but when I finally did, it was, you know, like magic, and all of a sudden everything made sense, and, you know, from there I just kind of hit the ground running, and opened the bakery about a year and a half after I had the idea, and I had no, absolutely zero credit, no money, was totally broke, working 2 waitressing jobs. I had a really supportive family that lent me money to get a loan, and, you know, just to like kind of piece things together, and then I had some investors invest a small amount, and we basically got the bakery open for under $100,000, which is totally unheard of in the city. And luckily, we had a little bit of money in the bank when the bakery first opened, because it was, you know, really slow. We were more of like a curiosity on the block, and eventually everyone started coming in just because they were just curious. And then when they ate the cupcakes and they realized after that it was vegan gluten-free. They were like, wow, these taste good. I want to bring it around to my friends, you know. And then they'd bring it to parties, and it was seriously the way that it all happened. I was blessed with a lot of great press, but the real powerhouse, I think, behind the spread of the love of BabyCakes was that people just wanted to introduce everyone to the product, and they just kept bringing them more and more parties, and every year it was like, you know, more and more people were showing up and they were hearing about it, and then we got to do some cool things, like write one book a couple of years ago that did really well, and another book now about all of the other favorites that I don't have enough room in the bakery to make, like you know, like Girl Scout cookies and donuts. I mean, we now make the donuts in the bakery. I've cleared off some shelf space for it, but it's just all the things that I really have been wanting to make, but we just don't have the time or space to put it out every day. And yeah, that's. I mean, I'm sure most of you have flipped through the book, so you're familiar with the recipes in it. So I won't bore you with that. But I figured I'd see if anyone had any questions and, you know, talking points they wanted to. Yes.
I'm just curious how, well, her daughter and her son both have eaten, and after her son was diagnosed too, so it's like a whole combination. And a lot of the food that they eat that I taste, I was always like, oh my gosh, they have to eat this stuff. It's awful.
Yeah.
And so I started cooking stuff out of your book, and it's amazing. But like, I don't understand like the chemistry behind it, like how you figured out like what to use. You know, like I don't know how you figured it out.
I don't understand the chemistry either. The relationship I have with the ingredients is more, I don't know, it's just more blind. It's like, it's more intuitive. It's really hard to explain. Like, I know, and I think that the more that you bake from the books, the more you'll understand. Or if you start experimenting, which I highly recommend, like once you start getting things down, you'll make mistakes, but then you'll see, based off your mistake, what ingredient is doing what. It's like it'll talk to you. It's like Xanthangun's like, I'm the stuff that makes it all spongy and weird. You know, like if you use too much, it'll get like rubbery or like jelly looking, you know what I mean? Or, you know, if your baking powder is expired, it won't rise, and you know, everything. It's just one of those things over time. I really don't know any of the science behind it. I'm really
like what made you think of using like bean flour? I mean, I never really
bean flour. I mean, I would scour. I was pretty obsessed, and I would scour the health food stores. I was living in Brooklyn at the time, which was more. It was more like artsy, and so they had like people were more interested in health food out there. So they had a wider selection of all these different flours. So I would just read the back and see what was up with them. And I remember reading, you know that there's a gluten-free baker named Betty Haig. Is that her name? She's like old, like been doing this since the 80s. I remember her saying that bean flours were gave better rise to the baked goods, and I'm like, I'll try it. And I tried a bunch of different flours, and it was right. It definitely puffs up more, and it's not as like dense and heavy and gritty as rice flour. Sometimes you do want the rice flour though. If you want like that really like crunchy, gritty, like dense sort of thing, like for rich cakes or whatever, I prefer it. Yes.
When you were coming up with the recipes, like you said, you're kind of broke and stuff, and like this stuff is, you know, you're giving it. It's not necessarily the, you know, least expensive thing to be baking with. How did you go about efficiently figuring out your recipes to the fact of like, you know, because you had to measure everything out beforehand, but you didn't really know it was going to work.
Yeah.
Like, how did you do it in smaller portions and then just assume, okay, well, I could double this for the book, or like, how did you go about
Well, I mean, in the beginning was when all the experimentation I mean, in the beginning was when I was really learning about the ingredients and the not the chemistry, but like how they all worked together. So I know I just was spending all my money. I was cocktailing at night and waiting tables at 2 different restaurants, and just like I was a mess. But I think the answer to your question is I would read, traditional recipes for cakes and stuff, and I would sit there and I'm like, okay, it's 2 cups of flour, so maybe if I put this much of this one, I knew I needed the bean flour and the potato and arrowroot. I didn't know in what portion, so I just like scaled up and down, and then the eggs, I was like, okay, I guess we'll start with this much applesauce instead of it, and eventually.
How long
That's
does it take
how I-
for like each recipe to sort of like evolve?
Well, the first.
What was your first one?
The first one, I mean, the first good one was the gluten-free vanilla cupcake, and then the chocolate, and then the chocolate chip cookies were a severe obsession. Like I was like, that's all I thought about. And I remember the day that I finally perfected it. I like couldn't sleep, and I was the next night I was waiting on tables, and I was like. I was like so happy, and I was all, what's wrong with her, I was like, hi, I was like, oh my god, wait till everyone tastes this. It's chocolate chip cookies and then banana bread, and then I was like, that's good enough, let's open a bakery. So I was totally crazy, like I don't understand. I think that luckily I am part, this part of me is very much like my father. Like I have like kind of like a lot of self-confidence about things, and even this, like when I opened the bakery with 4 recipes, I was just like, wait till everyone sees this, they're gonna be so excited and so stoked, but now looking back, I'm like, they're probably just confused. Like you have like 4 things. Like, okay, I guess I'll have that one today. I don't know, but anyway, I think it was just that sort of,
So how long did it take you to come up with those 4? Not too long?
Once I started focusing down on cupcakes, it was maybe like 6 months. Yeah. Yes.
I have 2 questions. Correct me if I'm wrong. In your first book, you seem to use a lot of agave syrup
Mm-hmm.
in your recipes, and then the second book you switched over to organic cane sugar. Is that right?
I don't know. I didn't count how many have. There are a lot of recipes with agave in the second book too.
Oh, well, is there any reason why you switched over to the organic cane sugar?
I use it in the first book too, though.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I had in the first book. We called it, I think, evaporated cane juice, and it was confusing everyone. So we were getting the bakery phone was off the hook. Like, what? There's no juice, and I can't find it. So we kind of debated what to call it. Me and my editor were like, okay, should we call it vegan sugar? And she's like, well, what's vegan sugar? I'm like, what about this? And so.
Is it okay to cut back on all the sugar? Like, if you required maybe to have cane sugar, does that cut it down?
I mean, you can try. I mean, I haven't tested it, but I'm sure if you cut it down.
And the second question is, I don't know if you're familiar with the BabyCakes shop at the M Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Is that your place there?
No,
Oh,
there's a lot of copycats out there at this point. We're working on it. Good looking out though. But there's one in Orlando now, and one in downtown Los Angeles. That's another.
I was actually wondering how the downtown
It's doing well. We didn't have a sign outside, or we're working on getting our sign outside. So one of the issues is that people couldn't find it because we're in the same building as like this restaurant called Fresh Appeal, and And so, but we're getting assigned now, and there's talks of them moving us to our own little location. So, but the response has been phenomenal. Like everyone who gets there is like, "Whoa, psyched!" Yeah, it's been good. We hope to have more soon. Yes.
What's your next sort of adventure out of there? I know you remember something.
Well, I am working on an app right now. With, Anthony Bourdain's company has this. He has a production company that put out an app for David Chang from Momofuku, and they want to do an app with me. So it'll be fun. It'll be videos and just kind of like this crazy like BabyCakes world. They're very creative, and they're strange thinkers like me, so we're trying to make it as well as possible. Yeah, so that, and then packaged cake mix eventually. That's like kind of the unknown monster. It's like this thing that looks like it should be so easy to do, but can't really figure it out. And then probably a couple more locations. I'm not going to talk about where, but we're getting close on another one. Yes.
Have you made any bread? Just plain gluten-free bread? Because that one's hard.
I know, and I was just saying to the editor, if they wanted to write another book, I think the only thing anyone would really be interested in buying, because I think the first 2 books pretty much cover everything, and I don't want to write a book that's like, I'm like, I don't have enough things to do, but and I mean, writing books is fun, and they're very pretty, but I just don't know what would excite people as much as like donuts and like cake and cupcakes or whatever. But I thought if I can come up with a bread recipe and bagels, I would love to do like an old like bagels and like challah bread and like stuff like that. I think that would be exciting. But that's gonna be toughy. But it's okay. I think I can do it. I just have to carve out time. Anyone else? My family's. You guys don't have any questions for me? Mom, do you have a question? Patrick?
What's your motivation every day? Like, what keeps you going? Say family.
You do. I have a picture of you in the house. Me and Chris. I would say there's something that happens when you enter this like field of like creativity. It's like not adrenaline, but it's just like this, just really warmth and like excitement, and it's like a really uplifting feeling. So every day I just look to find a way to find that creativity and inspiration in that day. And it happens most days, unless I'm in a bad mood, and that's really hard to find it. So I'm just like, no. Yes, Phil.
Who's your favorite family member?
How much money do you have? Bill, yes.
When you die, it's all the baby cakes.
Who is on your will? I don't know yet. It hasn't been decided. But somebody's throwing a party for me. Everyone's throwing parties for me. It's just lovely.
I know you said you didn't want to talk about locations, but you want to one.
Do I want to live in San Diego?
No, you want a location.
Oh, I do. I do. I love Encinitas a lot. My sister lives there, and it's just of all the Southern California towns, for some reason, it just feels so. I don't know. It's like so surfery, and like it's just so authentically San Diego. You know what I mean? Like it's really cool that over there, like when I'm driving to her house, you just drive by at sunset, and there's like palm trees and the sunset, and I never get that. I mean, I live kind of near the water in New York, but it's not like that scene. So maybe, yeah. I mean, I think the most important thing about locations that I've learned is that having people you trust and that will really care for the shop like you would is the main thing. The rest of it will happen, but it's just like having, and family. There's nothing like family for that.
Yeah, is it hard for you opening it, like, was it hard for you to open your second store when you weren't, like, there to sort of watch over it? Like,
Yeah.
that would be bothersome, I feel.
It's horrible. It's like, it's terrible. And I was warned before I did it, and I just was, I didn't want to hear it. I'm very headstrong and, like sometimes I'm overly confident and I'm like, it'll be fine. I've got great people there. But essentially, if I'm not there nurturing it, like the New York store, I'm there every day and I'm just like down everyone's necks and, but we're having a good time. Like it's a very fun environment and everyone really cares for it like I do. I mean, as much as they could care. And in Los Angeles, it's different. I'm not there a lot. So, everyone's doing what they think that I want them to do, but it's difficult because you feel like a little bit out of control. But I mean, I think with expansion, it's just a constantly showing up. You just have to put in the extra effort if you're not there to like really make your presence known and make sure everyone is in alignment with your thoughts, like, and is seeing your vision through the way you want it. If that makes sense.
Do you go there a lot?
I try to. I try to get out there every other month. New York is just, I have so many strings there that, like, things happening that it's hard to find more than 3 days at a time to get on a plane and go out. And plus, like, popping in to the LA for like 1 day doesn't do much. It's like, everyone's off. When is she leaving? So, yeah, it's hard. But I mean, it's still great. I see, like, I meet people when I'm in Los Angeles who are really, really happy, and they're just like, thank you so much, we're so happy, and that's what makes it worth it too.
I might have the last question.
Okay.
As part of my extensive research for my author intro tonight,
Okay.
I watched your Martha Stewart appearances
Okay.
on your website.
Uh-huh.
Have you been asked back since you told her not to stir?
That was funny. She was really good about that. We're talking about fall. I might be going back to fall. Yeah.
So it's still a relationship.
Oh yeah,
Good.
she was really, like, she has a really good sense of humor, and I think that a lot of people around her are very nervous, and so she loved it. In the commercial break, she's like giving me advice, and she's like, watch, I'm gonna sell you so many books right now, watch. And then the lights come on, she's like, this book, and she kept like flashing it, and like, I was like, she's crazy what she said.
What happened? I didn't see it.
Oh, I was just like bossing her around.
Okay.
But I mean, it was kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Some of her fans wrote angry emails to me. They're like, how dare you talk to Martha like that? And I'm like, what? Good question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What impact do you think has social media played in your business? I'm sorry if you answered this.
Oh no, I didn't know we got that. I think it's been huge actually. I wasn't really up on all that, like, Twitter and Facebook stuff until I met my husband, and he's in media, and he was just like, all right, no, you gotta, like, he's just on me. He's like, you gotta have a blog. Like, what's wrong? Like, you do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. you want to make some videos, and he really like opened my eyes to what all the different possibilities that there were, and as far as like connecting with people outside of New York, because essentially in the first couple of years it was just New York people, or like people who had come to New York through the store or seen the stuff on TV, but now we're able to talk to people and on Twitter and Facebook and stuff, and it's interesting to see the connection that happens with Twitter and Facebook. Like you can talk to everybody, and you just say one thing, and then all of a sudden everyone's chirping in, and it's very cool. And I think that it definitely like bonds in a weird way. And I mean, I've seen it like with my family too. Like I have a lot of brothers and sisters, and I'm on Facebook, and I feel like I'm so much closer to them now because it's the only we're in so much closer contact now since we were all on Facebook, and we can see what each other is doing every day. And it's the same with customers. I can see like what we're making, or like jokes, you know, or just, you know, hanging out. It kind of like brings everyone into the bakery more. That is a good question.
How much have you paid for advertising since you started?
$0. Yeah, I think that advertising is. I think with food, I was always like a very picky customer and consumer, and I realized like I will buy anything. I fall into every trap. Like if you trap me right, I will fall. Like I am here, I will buy it. You know, like I'm totally. But when I've seen restaurants advertising in newspapers or in magazines, like, come to our restaurant, it's like, it feels so desperate, and like, wait, why are you trying to get me in there so bad? Like, why aren't people just coming in, you know? So, that's why.
How many hours do you work?
That's hard to quantify. I take Sundays off. I try not to answer my phone on Sundays, but I get up at like 6, and then I don't know, it's hard. It's not like I'm sitting at the computer all day and in the bakery all day, so maybe 12 hours, because it's just like I'm dealing East Coast and West Coast, so it's like I'm getting emails from the West Coast until like bedtime. Try and turn the BlackBerry off. I turn it upside down at 10:30, so that's what I thought. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's good. It's all fun work, and a lot of it is fun work.
I have a question.
Yes.
With all the other stuff you're working on, do you get much time to bake anymore?
That is a good question. It's not really that much anymore. It really sucks. I got into it because I love to bake, and that was my favorite thing to do. And now the girls, I actually work in the kitchen on every Saturday. So I do baking that day, but it's just mainly like, you know, old recipes. And it's too busy to like start experimenting and like throwing flour everywhere. Everyone's getting mad at me in the kitchen. Every once in a while I do get like an itch like to make something that I have on my mind. But it's, you know, it's not as often as it used to be. It's sad. But
Way to bring it down, Stephen.
I
Hey,
know,
we got
I
books
know.
for
It's like,
sale if anybody
let's end
wants
on
to
that
buy.
depressing note. It's not sad. It's just the way it is, and I actually am moving towards getting full reign of the kitchen, you know, on Mondays at a certain hour where no one else is in there, because it's our kitchen in New York is about 150 square feet, and we produce like, you know, a lot of stuff out of there every year, and it's hard to find time when you're not in everybody's way. And it's like you're just like, let's go. Like every day is like, let's go. You know, it's 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You know, you want to like wrap it up and because there's so much that has to be done. Yes.
Because of this lady here and her daughters, a lot of children are involved, right? In what you do. You make a difference in their lives.
Thank you.
I was wondering if maybe you could bring out a book for children about baby cakes?
Oh, that's cute. A book for children, like a children's book, like
How they put it
Samantha went to
together.
BabyCakes? Like
Yeah. Baby cakes for babies.
Oh yeah. That is a good idea. I was thinking about baby food.
It was James' idea.
James, good idea.
Hence the baby.
Oh no, I mean I did think about doing baby food. That is a good idea. But I feel like I don't know if anybody would buy it. Would you?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, because the recipes would be like steam some yams and then blend them. That's yam. That's yam cereal. Isn't that what baby food is? It's like steamed food and then whirl it around. I could act like I'm all put 2 tablespoons of water. Don't do any more than 2 tablespoons.
More of it.
Yeah. It's good. Yes.
I was going to say that. More of
Oh.
a cookbook that kids could bake.
Like kid friendly.
Yeah, kid friendly.
Yeah.
With like fun stuff, like,
Yeah.
some of the kids' cookbooks have like face on the cupcakes.
Yeah. All right, you guys. More ideas on my brain. You guys are all gonna come after me for money, aren't you? We have it on video, but I was the one who raised the baby. Well, if people don't have any more questions.
Well, I have one.
Yes.
Was it difficult in the beginning getting all of your ingredients wholesale? Like, I know it's kind of tricky to get a lot of the nice alternative items in bulk quantities. And
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a little bit hard. There's different wholesalers to go through on the East Coast, but then there's ingredients like the coconut oil that I use that they don't sell to anyone on the East Coast, so we have to order directly through them. So it was a lot of hustle, and like even the cocoa powder we use in New York wouldn't ship to us in LA, or it's the only like nut-free, dairy-free, gluten-free cocoa powder we could find in bulk, and they were being really difficult about getting us the product, so we had to buy pallets full, like $10,000 worth of cocoa powder, and buy a storage area. It's like there's just so much that you have to do. So you have to be so flexible when you're doing this kind of baking, because no one's used to. A lot of these producers aren't used to selling to bakeries. They're all okay. We'll try and figure it out, and we're doing you a favor. It's kind of sometimes that attitude, but we just kind of like shrug our shoulders and do what we have to do.
so do you feel like with your perseverance, did you bridge the gap for them to now offer to more of a business-based customer?
I think that now they're seeing that. I think that there's a lot of flaky people in the industry as far as like alternative food and stuff. So I think that they're seeing that at least we're trying to show them that there is somebody out there who's gonna pay on time, order consistently, be professional, and continue to see growth. And hopefully, I don't know if they've become more flexible with other people because of they're now like not so sour on the experience of selling direct to a small business, but it seems like they're kind of like in the flow now, with us at least. Yes.
Do you eat your sweets every day?
Yes. Yeah. I I'm really into the cupcake tops right now. For some reason, I don't know. Because they're kind of just like no one in the bakery ever eats them, so I'm like, you guys, this is really one of the best things. Or the cookie sandwiches. But yeah, like if I'm not there, I kind of find my way in there. So, like if it's my day off, you know, I gotta stop by the bakery to get something. I should bring some cookies home. I really should. But yeah. Yes.
So if you're not around any of the store locations, where do you find have you found are there any other bakeries?
No, yeah, I don't really go anywhere. Like I'll probably just eat chocolate. I have like I'll just eat like a chocolate piece or something, whatever, if I'm like craving sweet. Or there's a place in New York called Organic Avenue, and they have like some cool weird desserts. It's still kind of weird. It's like they're like healthy tasting, but I'll eat it. Yeah, and I think that's it. Where do you like to go?
I eat chocolate a lot.
Yeah, me too. I have to have it in my purse. Like if I'm not gonna have, yeah, it's like chocolate all over everything at the bottom of the candy.
But Harry's Coffee Shop.
We're like Harry's Coffee Shop. I know, Harry's Coffee Shop. How many people here have been to Harry's Coffee Shop? That's my cousins. They're all right there. They said that BabyCakes customers get free brunch on Sunday. Every Sunday. It's really nice of them. Sunday, try to come between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Right?
It's a free dinner.
That's a free dinner. Free dinner after 3, right? I'm just kidding.
Another question, sorry. What impact has the new like cupcake stores, like the one right across the street, has that had any impact on your business?
No, if anything, I think that the cupcake thing is just, people are just getting really eye-rolly about it. And hopefully it'll, you know, die down a little bit. 'Cause I think it's reaching a point of like oversaturation, and people are just getting, I mean, especially, you know, there's so many, it's getting so much media attention, like, or I think it's kind of trickled off a lot since last year, but it was getting over-reported on, like, everyone wanted to be writing about cupcakes and, like, opening cupcake shops, and, you know, it was just so, so overbearing that my thought is that that's eventually going to die off, and, you know, the good stores. I have nothing bad to say about the place across the street. I didn't even know anything existed across the street, but I think after the obsession dies down, the places that really do just have good cupcakes that are just delicious are gonna be around forever, because cupcakes are just easy and portable, and you know, it's easy to share. But yeah, I mean, if anything, we might get more eye rolls because everyone's like, oh, BabyCakes cupcakes. You know? That's about it.
Is there any pie? Because the New York Times said cupcakes are over.
Oh yeah.
Pie is the new thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we sometimes do pie, but we don't. I hate pie, and that's kind of why we don't make them. We have one pie, and the last one is ice cream. Apple, yeah. My dad likes it. That's the only reason. I know. I think it's actually a pie that I would eat. I like it, but I pretty much hate pie.
The gluten-free crust would be.
Yeah.